Welcome to our Live, Love, Laugh, or Live, Laugh, Love Lazy Susan panel. This is a 4-season Lazy Susan panel. This comes as a Lazy Susan unit, and then you can order panels. We've got them with cutouts like spider webs and snowflakes and things like that. You can get them in round, you can get them scrolly, whatever you want. You can paint on both sides, so you've got two surfaces in one. In order to make it removable, we have to put it on top of this screw top. We have ones that have holes that are square that fit a little nugget. You can put your nugget right on top of this and then put your Lazy Susan onto the square part. In this case, I don't need to. I just screw the nugget off and then I can put it right on there. This has got a hole in the bottom, and this is my little finial. So what you do is you just wind that puppy on, and there you've got a beautiful butterfly ready to fly away off into the sky. Okay, and then this actually breaks down flat for shipping, so which is kind of cool. And then I've got it glued into place, ready to take pictures and stuff. You can glue yours or not glue it. It doesn't matter either way. I hope you enjoy the project. We made it much easier by using some stencils for the butterflies. These are 2-part stencils, so I used a sponge dauber to fill in and do the shading and highlighting all in one step. And then I just overlay this piece over the top of that, and I get all my dark detail on my butterflies. So it saves lots and lots of steps. I also did stencil on the Live, Love, Laugh as well. So it's really a very fast project and a lot of fun, and I think it's just a good celebration for spring. The very first thing we'll do is we'll roll on with a little 2-inch foam roller, Winter Blue. We'll roll just one coat of that on, and then we'll allow it to dry and sand in between. You can seal if you feel like you need to. The hardboard doesn't necessarily need sealing, but you can, personal choice that way. Okay, while I'm waiting for my paint to dry, in between times, I always put my roller head into a plastic bag and just set it off to the side instead of washing it and having it wet. And I've got a non-stick mat here, and what that's good for is I can just squirt this, wipe it right off, and it keeps my surface clean. This is a reversible panel, Lazy Susan. Okay, so that means that you can paint on both sides. But if you paint on both sides and you're on your surface like this, and you shove your painted side through the paint on your mat or your table, you're going to end up with a mess on the bottom side. Okay, the way you can get around that is to take some press and seal food wrap and press and seal it to the back side and to your edge. That way, if it runs through, it's just going to be getting on the press and seal and not on your project. Alright, so we're going to repeat with Winter Blue to coat. I've sanded it lightly in between. I'll get my glove on so that I can do my background finish. I'll get my hands coated with paint. Even though paint is safe and yada yada yada, it's always a good idea not to immerse yourself in it, because little bits are safe, but we don't want to be silly. So always protect your hands and don't breathe stuff in that smells yucky. Okay. Get this all coated. And I've got to kind of move quickly. Today's a kind of cold day, so I can move a little bit slower than normal. But if we don't move quickly, our paint will dry in between times. The way that we can prevent that is keep a little misting bottle on hand and give it just a little bit of a mist. Okay, we're going to stand up, and we're going to put in different blobs of white and blue here and there. You can see kind of why we're going to have to move fairly quickly here. Okay, I'm going to lay my brush to the side, and then from the center out, I'm going to start pouncing and twisting and pushing. I'm walking through my board. I'm going to get everybody moving around, and then I'll come back and we'll add a little bit more. Did you notice that I put a little bit more blue at my edge? I'll glaze that later too, but in the meantime that'll add just a little bit of framing to my piece. Okay, so right now we have what I kind of call a yucky 1980s sponge wall effect. Okay, but this is where the fun begins. Okay, so now with that done, start rocking and walking your sponge through. Squint your eyes. Oh, my sponge is falling apart. Squint your eyes to get kind of a dreamy, dreamy look. I'm just dragging and scooching through. I don't want any of those harsh lines. I want this to go kind of sky-like, and I don't want it to be too neon. Okay, I'm going to drop that down. Oops. Got a couple colors. Let me get out some gray sky. Okay, and the reason I want to do this is because I'm just getting it's a little bit blue for me, and I tend to get colors just a little bit more vibrant than I want them to be. Give this a mist, keep everybody awake. Okay, and then we'll go back into our sponge, and I'll walk that out and around. Okay, and I think that's probably pretty good. Okay, as I'm looking at it, I think maybe I might want just a little bit more dreamy scoonched in white. So now that I've got the gray in there, I'm going to kind of bring the cloudiness back. Just scooch all over those. And it's important to drag it out to the outer edges. Okay, maybe just a little bit more. And maybe now we'll start just slip-slapping a little bit. Kind of making our cloud-like moments. Stay off the sponge for a little bit. And so you've got to balance your slip slaps. This is what slip slap is. It's a little X and a little X going in different directions. You get it on there, and then you go back into it, and then you push and lift off with kind of a, so now I'm going to tippy toe a little bit, and then I'll push to blend. So it's a little bit of kind of a bunch of techniques. Now see, I'm dry over here. See how that's just sticking out like a sore thumb? Okay, yeah, that's getting nice and dreamy. Now I'll go back through with just really a wisping, sweeping motion and look for any really strong lines. This guy right over here, what I'll do with that is I'll go into my base color and I'll just kind of sponge out there. I'll wet my brush. Oops, and that's going to be a big fat wash. Out my brush. And we'll just kind of bring some of that around. Okay, time to hit the blow dryer. Right, I'm going to take my drying time extender and I'm going to work it into my background. And you know, this might be a really good time to use a slightly different brush. Okay, I'm going to try this great big giant decoupage medium applicator because this is a big surface and it has, because we don't want a lot of standing medium on our board, what you can do with this, because the bristles are so short, it actually works the medium and the paint into your surface better, and it goes really fast. Yeah, I like how much it's taking off and spreading around. Onto my edges, and then what you want to do is you want to go back and you want to inspect for no dry spots. So work it in. This takes quite a bit of time to dry, so you should be good. Okay, and then we'll still wash this with water to get that out of there. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to put a little bit of the medium in our brush and go into our sapphire. And our sapphire is going to come out here to the edges. And we don't want to let it stick and then forget that we put it there. So we want to go ahead and put it out and then kind of work it in just a little bit. Paint that allows, that gets like hard edges to it, like it starts drying, will stick there and stay there, just like, you know, like your face will stick that way if you make a funny face. Okay, I'm going to go into my mop and start moving my paint around. Some things will move easier if you need to use your brush to blend. And I'm losing a couple of hairs on my piece, but that's okay. They'll wipe off when it's dry. The neat thing about the extender, the drying time extender, is it doesn't have like a sealing property, so it doesn't seal onto your surface. And so we're still doing a series of X's. And I like the idea that it's not concrete and perfect all the way around, like I'm, you know, making a frame. Okay, and so then I'll wipe my brush out. And a little bit of retarder, and maybe wipe it out again. And go into the white. Now's where we get to create flitty little butterfly clouds kind of things. Okay, we don't want them to be, you know, concrete, and we want them to kind of turn. We don't want unidirectional clouds. Okay, and I'm going to go into the tighter mop because I want to kind of leave the paint there, but I want to soften its edges. And then you'll just wipe off on your paper towel. Okay, so my edges are grabbing just a little bit. That just means I have to move a little bit quicker and get my big ugly edges going. Go up here to the ones that were first. So even people who've been painting for a long time struggle with things like things drying faster than they think they're going to. It's just a matter of not panicking. If this didn't work out and it dried way too fast for me, then what I would do is I would take some drying time extender and I would simply wipe it off with a paper towel, and that would remove all the blue and all the white, since I didn't allow any drying time in between. Okay, so I think I need a little bit of bigger. Now I'll pay attention to the fact that I'm drying quickly, and I'll address them right as I put them down. Okay, so now we can go with a couple of really strong kind of things. And we'll drag it out just a little bit. Wiping off on the paper towel. So what this is doing is it's giving you layers of clouds. As we turn around, we want to have different layers. So just blend. And you notice that there's not very much on the bottom of my paintbrush. Now I'm looking for balance, looking for blue holes, if you will, where I don't have any clouds, but could use, just a little bit more movement or color. Okay. Wipe my brush off nice and good. That's going to need to go take a bath. And I'm going to put my brush into my medium, and then I'm going to go across my clouds every which way. Giving them some streaks. A different kind of blending motion. Okay, I'm putting my stencil on. My stencil with some gold leaf on a piece of wax paper, and I'm using a jumbo dauber and tack it over and over. The tack it over and over makes the stencil like a great big giant post-it note, and it sticks down all these edges. So I'm going to do the backs of all my stencils and then allow them to dry off of the wax paper. Like I just take it off and set them over the lids of paint bottles, or just someplace where it's not going to connect with whatever it's on top of. And I'll just let that dry, and it'll be clear when it's dry. And we want to tap down any kind of bubbles so that it prevents any leaking under. We don't want texture in our tack it. Alright, I've got my artist buddy here, and let me show you. Mine is beat up to the end of the beat upness. This is a multi layer. You can use all these different adjustments right here. This little guy flips up and down. Ours is made out of all kinds of hardwood and stuff like that, except for the surface, which is made out of an MDF for flatness. Anyway, but very, very durable. We had these created for a seminar way back in, I don't know, 2000 I think. And we were painting 3 foot by 3 foot wide plywood fireplace covers. And all of the people in the class were like 65 and over, and they had a hard time rotating the piece over and over again. So we made these, and they supported that giant 3 foot fireplace stand. So what you do is you lock it into place with this dude. It folds flat. It's really small for storage. And then I can put this on here so that you get a little bit better angle with my my arm. Now my palette is going to, and it's also awesome for when I pull this guy out, I can paint all the way around on the round of the piece. Okay, so it makes it much easier for painting. Seeing is believing. The other thing it does when you paint with it upright, your perspective from this place to this place is correct. This isn't so close to you, and this isn't so far, so your perspective is actually better, and you're going to paint more accurately. Okay, so we're going to blot on our paper towel because this is going to be kind of a wash. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and give all of the branches this little bit of a wash. I'm going to have some extras kind of going out here and there. You'll have the pattern, but mine will not be like that. Okay, and I'll make it just a little bit more solid. Just a nice loose line going around. Okay, I'm going to use a squirt bottle with water in it. Okay, just regular water, and watch what happens on the palette right here. You've got to have a squirt bottle that has the right kind of squirt. If you use these great big giant squirt bottles, they have too big of droplets. So this has got a good droplet size. So see how those are nice and tiny. Watch what happens to them as I squirt and squirt. See, they're growing. Okay, I'm going to have a variety of sizes on here because this is where I'm going to load my water from for my my floating on the little skinny branches. I'm going to use this very small, short, bright. Look at how tiny, how short the head of that is. The reason we like it that short is it's going to be a very dry float, and it's going to be very controlled. I'm going to load and just suck up little droplets, and I got just a little bit too wet. The drier your float in this case, the better it's going to look over here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on my chisel edge and look at that wonderful little float. You want to have these short brights for these skinny little areas. That's going to give roundness and form to your project. Okay, I have a filbert that will come to a point, which is nice for when you're painting leaves. And I'm going to do a wash, which means I'm going to blot on my paper towel. And I'm just going to go ahead and make some nice loose little flower petal, leaf petals. Okay, and I think I'm going to want a few just really soft kind of extra ones back here. And we'll call those ghost petals or ghost leaves. We'll just put them in the background, and they'll be smaller in different sizes and stuff. Okay, but we definitely want them kind of dappled. We don't want them to get all shaded and detailed. Alright, we're going to shade our leaves with with light avocado. Because we washed them, then that makes the base color a perfect shading color. Okay, and we're just going to do just the back sides of them. I'm going to deepen with plantation pine. And one thing that makes this a little bit more difficult is I've got to flip my board around, and I don't want to make you dizzy, so I'm just going to show you a couple, and we're going to repeat on the rest of them. we'll get way down here, and we're going to use our plantation pine. And let's find some that are dry. Okay, and then what we're going to do is just give the very back end just a little bit of deepening. And we can pull in just a little bit of a vein. And use still that very dry. Okay, and we don't want it over detailed, so we just want to have hints of veins. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stencil my words with burnt umber. Just going to do a nice scant coat the first time, and then I'm going to go back and do them again. This stencil has an etched line right here on the edge so that you can actually see where you're placing it, which is kind of cool for this project. Okay, I'm going to stencil at the base with a little bit of dried off, what color is it? Traditional raw umber, just down at the bottom half of the letters. It's kind of neat because you can self-shade it. I'm just going to go faster. I'm going to take washi charcoal and our Pro Round brush, and we're going to just stroke to the left and to the bottom of all of the bits of the letters. Alright, we're going to base the petals with a mix of driftwood plus white. You can have some going over your letters and some going behind your letters, whichever way you want to do it. Okay. And we'll base that with an actual base coat, so we'll have to give that a couple of coats. Okay, we're going to shade with little C strokes in the middle of these petals. Just real nice and choppy. I didn't like them getting too strong, so I backed off of my base coats. It was kind of stealing the thunder from the other stuff, so I'm hoping by backing them down a little bit, then it'll also kind of fade things in. Okay, so we'll go into our little centers here and give it kind of a little cone type shape, and then I think I have it with orange here. I think we're going to shade with like a brown kind of color. The color that I used, how about that? The color that I used is banana cream. Okay, we'll shade with just a little bit of burnt umber. Now I have a better float than that. Okay. Alright, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and do some of our highlights on our petals, and way softer float than that. Gonna round that down. I decided to not have the flowers going over my letters. Just have them tucked behind. Got a little bit busy looking. Okay, just kind of some loose little, I think we'll deepen the shadow in the center, but I'm not quite sure with what yet. Okay, this petal gets shaded coming up and down, and then rounded out. This one up to the side, and then this one the same as the others. Okay, we're going to give just a little bit of an orange glaze to our little centers, just enough to just have just a little something going on. And the orange glaze is a mix of orange twist and persimmon, 1:1, with then 2 of the mix to 3 bright yellow, and then a touch of dioxazine after that. So a little bit of kind of a messy mess. Let's go into our banana cream. And let's give a little bit of yellows kind of moving around the piece on our tips of our leaves. Just a little bit, just enough to say, here I am. And we could even glaze just a little bit on our whites, just to carry the eye kind of through. I'm going to use my butterfly stencil, and I'm going to base the monarch looking butterfly with camel. I'm using a fingertip dauber. I'm going to do one leaf and then I'm going to peek in case I just need to wipe this off. Nope, I think that can be fine. Thank goodness for tack it over and over. That makes everything much more doable. These are 2-part butterfly stencils. And so the way they work is you put down your base coat, and actually we're going to put down our base coat and our shade coat. And let's go ahead into our orange mix. Dirty brush. And walk it down while it's wet. Okay, I think that'll do. And then what we do is we take, I'm going to use a one of my dome brushes. I'm going to lay this second layer right over the top and line everybody up. And I'm going to go into, I think, a mix of my charcoal and burnt umber. And then that just goes all over the second layer. Because I'm wet, I'm probably going to have to do that one more time. Let's take a little sneak peek after I get this side done again. And then presto magico, you have your butterfly. Okay, and then I'm making this little sideways guy right here into a halfway butterfly by just doing half of this wing. Using pink chiffon, and I'm shading with raspberry while it's wet. Blotting on a paper towel to soak up some of the stuff. And then I'm going to go from the inside out with my shading. So what I'll do is I'll drag it out there like that. I'll blot, reload, and neutralize with a little bit of the pink chiffon, and then walk it up the rest of the way. Okay, I'll take that off. Now we have 2 little pink butterflies. And it seems to me that what we could do is we could scatter couple of colors around. So we can make this just be a little butterfly that's just pink to bring some color around. Maybe we'll have one coming up this way. Fading, nice and soft. Okay, and then we'll go back to this guy right here. When did I get green? Aha. Be careful when you're messing with your stencils because it's real easy to get smears of stuff on things. Okay, so this is our halfway guy. Get him laid over there nicely. And we go into charcoal. And there's our little pink butterfly. Okay, we're going to go into our blue butterfly with the sky color, which is winter blue. Get you on camera. And then we're going to go into sapphire. that in from the edges. Blot and blend. And then we'll repeat for another butterfly. Next we're going to do these little teeny baby ones. Ooh, that's going to be bright, so we're going to knock that back just a little bit. And this is with the banana cream. And we'll go into the camel to knock that back. Can't have it be screaming like that. Okay, and I think it is a little bit screaming. We'll see if we need to knock it down just a little bit more. Okay, so we'll go in and out a little bit. Maybe what we'll do is we'll base in the camel and then we'll highlight with the banana cream. So we'll do that, and then we'll have a dirty base to blend into a darker base. And it won't be so bright. Okay, and so we have to just alternate high and low. Okay, and we'll do our top with the same color. Alright, so now it's time to start balancing colors out a little bit. And so I want to bring some petals, maybe multi-stroke petals down below the ivy line. Because what I noticed what I do is I take a picture of my projects, and then I kind of look at it through squinty eyes, and I noticed that we had a little bit of blank emptiness down here. So let's share a little bit of the blossom love and bring some stuff around. Don't get it too heavy down there because that's the dark area of the blue. So we want to keep it a little bit more washy. Okay, that's a little bit better. And now we're looking for any other things that just kind of don't make sense. You can go into your lettering color, and if you want them bridged, you can just give your little letters a little bit of bridging moment, and then they won't look like they were stenciled at all. Alright, we're going to go into just a little bit of our burnt umber and deepen some of this shading. We don't want them to be brown, dirty flowers, but we do want to be able to tell that they have centers. Okay, we can also go and give our butterflies just a couple of little details. That will give them, and I've got this just with the white plus the driftwood color. Just with the tip of your brush. Alright, and I'm going to sneak you in here and see if I can get you. Oops. I'm going to do dry brush style with my brush, and then I'm going to flick so that it's scratchy highlights on just the upper little dudes here. It'll look more painterly, it'll look more pleasing, and yeah, give a little bit more oomph. Okay, we're going to take a mix of the light avocado and the banana cream, and we're going to do that dry brush kind of effect on not all the leaves, but some of the leaves. Kind of you want to keep them on the ones that will lead your eye through the story. If they're way down here, they probably shouldn't get more than just a little smooch of a yellow highlight. And that just carries our yellow through. Okay, I'm going to take my pink, this is when it's hard to keep on camera, and just highlight up the sides of the butterfly, and we can give the little guys that are hiding here and there just a kiss of that color as well, and that's just raspberry. Okay, I'm going to do a little experiment and get some water. And a glazy raspberry, and see if we want to shade the under part of these guys. What do we think of that with the pink? Kind of digging it. It's just that little kiss of color, carries our pinks around, carries our yellows around. I bet we could even go into our green leaves down here and give them just a little kiss of pink where they just tuck in and are not very visible. I like it. Okay, I'm going to take some winter blue plus white, a big dome brush, and I'm not going to take a big dome brush, I'm going to take a crescent brush that is hard as a brick. Try different crescent brush. Okay, and I'm going to try just scumbling this color on my stencil. Not sure we're going to be able to see anything. It's there a little bit. Let's put a little bit more white in the mix. So it's maybe 2 to 1 white plus the winter blue. Okay, so now we'll try scumbling, and we'll stay out of the areas where we've got stuff stippled. Okay, now I'm going to peek again. I'm kind of torn a little bit, so I'll just keep doing it, right? Okay, just repeat, smooth the stencil when you're ready to. Okay, I think I can dig it. It adds to the kind of mad, spring-like funness going on around here. Okay, I've got these wonderful banding stencils, and that's what we're going to make the checks with. I don't know about you, but I love checks, but I've always hated painting them because you have to measure them and mark them and get them even, and it's just really hard. we've created a wonderful banding stencil that has checks on it. This is the B stencil, so this is going to be either odd or even, and I'm not sure which. Well, it's the odds because this says 15, 17, 19. So you can do all the way from a 5-inch band all the way up to 19 inches with this one stencil on the odd sizes, and then you need the A stencil to do the even. Anyway, so then what you do is you just line it up, and I don't have tacket on the back, and I found I've had really good luck without using the tacket on the banding stencils. I'm not sure quite why. So I tested my color to see if I was going to like it. I'm going to put scant paint on my ink sweeper, and then I'm just going to pounce straight up and down. Better to have scant paint than to have a ton of paint and bleed under. Okay, then we'll lift up. I'm just going to hold on to it and turn and line up the last couple. I'll check and make sure. Yeah, I thought I might be just a little bit off. Whoops. Got it, because the hole sizes are not the same. That's, you just got to be aware of that. Okay, and then we'll go all the way around, and you'll find when you get to the end, and I'll bring you back when I get mine all done, you'll find that it matches perfectly at the very end. Okay, here we go with the last lift, and I've been checking that as I go. And here we go. Somebody's wiggled. Okay. Well, it's not exact, and I'm assuming it's my fault because I am the one that usually messes things like this up, but it's pretty frickin' close. Aha. And perfect to me. Okay, so now I've got the checks on. We've got our cute little finial, and it's time to paint that. So I think I'll do the base of the check color was charcoal, by the way. I think I'll do the base the same as the sky, and we'll add some little checks down there. And we'll do also this bottom piece the same way as the sky with just a little slip slap of your brush. Okay, I've got a little stencil for my butterfly. I'll go ahead and base this. I was brush basing it, and I thought, you know what, I've got this lovely mask, so I don't wreck my blue. Well, why don't I just use the mask? Okay, then we're going to side load. I'm going to use this from the outside, from the inside out. And then we'll flip it over. And so see how that's a little bit more blended than the other way. So I'll just go ahead and blend it. And then I think we'll get just a little bit of our yellow. I don't want the middle to come too screaming, but I want it to at least sort of be, hey, here I am. Get my fingers out of the way. Okay, and that side needs to be a little bit better blended. Okay. And then I can just patch the bits that I think I need to have patched. Okay, and now we'll just go on with our fingertip dauber and make everything be charcoal gray. Okay, and then just add a little touch of white in the places where you want some. Okay, we're going to put on a little bit of top detail onto the standy thing. Just going to use a bit of our stencil. looks like. Yeah. A little bit stronger than the other. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the butterfly. Just going to take a little bit of this wispy stuff, like it's following him into the air. Okay, we probably could do that a little bit darker.